Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to, and welcome along to the 2K plan alternate. Now there's nothing wrong with the 2K plan that's up here, but there's a few sessions that I can do a little bit of tweaking to, or there's a few sessions I could do a bit of fixing of, like when the microphone dies and stuff, so I thought I'd go through some of the sessions and redo them with that in mind. So week 1, session 1 was 30 minutes at 22 strokes a minute and 2K plus 18. So what that was doing was pushing the stroke rate slightly faster than the pace I'd normally do with it. Well, today we're going back to 30 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and at 2K plus 18 pace. Now this is more of the standard pacing that I do for this kind of session. However, at every minute marker, we're going to put in 1 power stroke. So we're going to do our 2K plus 18 for most of this row, and then every minute we're going to do 1 hard shove with the legs. Now what do I mean by 2K plus 18? Well, if you haven't watched the importance of baseline testing video, then I do recommend checking that out. But basically all it means is that you do a 2K test where you try and row 2,000 meters as fast as you can, and then that gives you your training pace. Okay, so your average time to cover 500 meters in that 2K test is your training pace. So if you did it in 7 minutes 40, your average would be 7 minutes 40 divided by 4, which is 1 minute 55. So that's your training pace. So when I say 2K plus 18 seconds, then you do the 155 plus 18, which gives you a training pace of 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Now, if I went through that a little bit too fast, then either pause this video and go watch the baseline test, or just kind of go through this with an effort level of around about 5 to 6 out of 10, and then watch the video later and go, oh, that's what I should have done. But anyway, we always start off our sessions with a warm-up, and today we're doing a 4-minute warm-up, and I will guide you through it. Now, before we even get into that, we set up our machine. So go to your drag factor first and set that wherever you want it to be. If you don't know about drag factor, I also have a video about that. Then go to your monitor and set it at eye height, so you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down to see it. And finally, your foot strap should either cover the bottom lace in your shoe as a kind of starting guide, or if you're in socks like me, they basically just let you hinge forwards comfortably at the front. Now, the ideal is that you hinge forwards so that your shins can get into vertical. Okay, so that's no matter whether you're in socks or if you're in shoes, you want to make sure you can get forwards so your shins get to vertical. Okay, right, so 4-minute warm up. You can do this at 18 strokes a minute in 3, 2, 1, go. Now, when I say warm up, I mean warm up. So if you want to think of an effort level right now, then maybe right about 4 out of 10. Just for this first minute, just to make sure that you're engaging with your arms and legs. Your muscles are firing a little bit. Your heart rate's going to start going up a little bit as you get through this. You start easing off. It's currently, where's the time? It's coming up for 8 o'clock at night. I spent the entire day sitting at my desk. So I need a good warm-up just to ease off a bit. It's not that tough a session today, to be fair, but I still want to make sure to hold pace properly, get my body into the right positions as I'm rowing it. I'll talk to you about that kind of stuff during the row. What I'll do today is I'll try to go through technique in quite some detail, as being this is the first session. And then what I tend to do is every session I'll talk about technique just to kind of make sure that you're kind of on point, you're focused, but then I'll tend to lose focus and start to talk about dinner plans and drumming and Van Halen, Dead Mouse, cycling, all this kind of stuff, just in an effort to keep you company, get you through these sessions, make you think about your rowing, but also just, like the podcast intro says, just a friendly voice in your ear. Okay, 2 strokes to go. 1 more. And I want you to take both feet out the straps and put one on the floor. The other one goes back on the foot stretcher. And you continue to row with one on the floor and one just resting on the foot plate or foot stretcher, whatever you want to call it. Now I can do that quite quick because I'm in socks, so apologies if you're still unstrapping. One more stroke on this leg. Swap feet. See, it's really quick for the swap over when you take one out. Now the point here is to carry on rowing normally, just with one foot on the floor. It's not entirely normally, but you get what I mean. It's good for flexibility at the front, if nothing else. 2 more strokes. One more. Now put both feet back in the straps, legs straight, and then row with your back and arms. Now the point here is that you're swinging over your hips, okay? You're pivoting back and forwards over your hips. You're not collapsing your lower back, and you're not rounding your upper back. You're just swinging like a pendulum backwards and forwards, and then pulling in your arms at the end. One more. Now to the opposite, arms straight into the front, and just push out from the front. You don't have to go too far. All you're trying to do here is get the feel for when you pick up the flywheel or the water wheel, whatever, from the front of the machine. So ideally you can hold this forward lean the whole time as you push out and get that timing right. One more. Not really, we're done. Okay, quickly, before I do my, hey, we'll just stretch, whatever, just want to say the difference in your hip positions when you're rowing, okay? Because I'll talk about this at a point during the main row, but I want to just point it out here. This is kind of slouched and down. What I want you to do is imagine someone's just put an ice cube down your back, okay? And you go, ooh, and see the difference in kind of rolling your hips. So this is back, bad, up, good, okay? So you're sitting there a little bit slouched, pretend someone's put an ice cube down your back, woo, okay? But then this stuff then happens with shoulders going back, which you don't want. But so anyway, so you go, ooh, ice cube down the back, and then that's the feeling, okay? You just pivot backwards and forwards over your hips. That's the kind of the power, and that's all you're doing is keeping your back in a nice powerful position. You're not bolt upright, you're not being like a wooden door, but you want to be, woo, okay? You don't have to make the noise every time. Anyway, sorry, I don't normally give you a little technique tip midway after the warm-up, but I thought today I would. Hey, I'm changing things around, man. So keep up moving up and down the rail if you're not cooled down already by my little extra bit. Have a quick drink. I'll quickly fly through what it is we're doing today, and then we'll get into the main session. Okay, so the hoodie's off, and today I'm wearing my Don't Push the Slow Stuff, Push the Fast Stuff t-shirt, which is quite apt, as today's session is 30 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and at 2K plus 18. And now this is a slow, low stroke rate, which is the slow stuff, and I don't want you to push it, okay? This is one that's really easy to go faster on if you want to, but that's not the point of this session. This session is a bottom tier workout. What that means is that today's session gives you a chance to work on your core base fitness, right? You're not going to be absolutely destroyed at the end of this. The workouts that are going to make you work harder are going to be the mid-tier and the top-tier ones. This bottom-tier one is about kind of almost giving you a chance to recover from the other two. It develops your fitness and it will make you a much better rower. But if you push this session too hard, the pushing the slow stuff, then you're actually going to be reducing your benefits because you're not going to be able to go as fast on the mid-tier and the top tiers that follow. So please trust me on this one. Don't push the slow stuff. Push the fast stuff. And the push here means pace, okay? Because I'm going to get into technique stuff talking about pushing with your feet. You still need to push with your feet, but that's what I'm saying is don't push the pace of the slow stuff. Oy, what have I done to myself? I've tied myself up in knots. Anyway, so today's going to be 30 minutes, 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 pace, which is round about a 5 out of 10 effort level, okay? So you're basically just going to be holding the same pace the whole way through, apart from that 1 minute marker. So every time we get to 1 minute gone, 2 minute gone, 3 minute gone, you're going to go one hard push with your legs and a good finish with the arms as well. So that'll spike you up a few seconds for your pace, but don't worry about it. That's allowed. It's the rest of it that I don't want you to push, okay? That one stroke's not going to tip you over the edge in terms of energy expenditure. So don't worry about it. I'm not suddenly undoing what I just told you. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? Right. They're not all like this. Well, actually, to be fair, they are. I do talk a lot. But hey, it could be worse. You could just have someone in silence just rowing away next to you. So here we go then. So 30 minutes, 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 pace with a power stroke at every 1 minute point. I'm fluffing my lines. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So if you're watching this in the video, just follow me. Every time I row a stroke, you row a stroke. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then just listen to the sound of my flywheel and usually my speaking pattern as well, because I do tend to take breaths in between strokes. But hopefully once you've got through 1 or 2 minutes of having to watch or listen to me, you'll just hit the groove, you'll hit the rhythm, and you won't need to focus quite so much on what I'm doing in order to get the right stroke rate. Okay, 3 strokes to go, then a power stroke. All right, next one, here we go. So a real proper push with the legs, and then strong finish with your arms pulling in. And the point of the rowing stroke is that from the front here, it's all about pushing with the legs. This is what I was alluding to in between the warm-up and starting, is that you push with the legs. You don't start pulling from the front. You actually don't pull until the back of the stroke. Okay, got another power stroke coming up in 3, 2, 1, here we go. So a big push with those legs. If you can even think about pushing the machine away from you rather than just pushing into the machine. If you think about pushing it through the wall into the next room, it can kind of help you with that power, what do you call it? It's not power transfer, because you're just talking about pushing with your feet at this point. It can just help you focus on really putting in a solid push with those legs instead of just a lackluster tickle. All right, another one coming up in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And so what you want to do is have straight arms as you do that push. And that lets the power from your legs travel through your body into the handle and then into the machine. It's simple enough to think about it that way, but actually, depending on how long you've been rowing for, maybe you've been doing it for ages when you've been pulling from the front and it's hard to unlearn. Okay, 3, 2, try and keep straight arms on this one. 1, here we go. Now, as well as pushing with your legs and having nice straight arms at the front of the machine, what also helps is what I was saying about rocking backwards and forwards over your hips. Remember my ice cube analogy? So you want to lean forwards into a 1 o'clock position at the front of the machine. 3, 2, 1. Here we go with the power stroke. So if you can have a forward lean with straight arms, that's the perfect angle of attack for your machine. So just try and self-assess for a moment and think about what's happening with your body. Are you nice and powerful with your back, kind of straight and primed, as though you've had an ice cube put down your back, but not bolt upright, obviously. Leaning forwards into that 1 o'clock position. 2, 1, here we go. Power. Because if you are, hopefully, with your straight arms, you're managing to get a good amount of power into the machine, not only on your power strokes, but every other stroke. Because the point of this forward lean isn't just about the efficiency of power from your leg push, but also from adding in power throughout the rest of the stroke. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, power. After all, today's session is about adding in these extra, what will it be, 29 power strokes? So 29 or 30 or 28, I can't work out. You'll discover I'm terrible at doing maths while rowing. Just trying to work out, if we didn't do 1 to start, and we won't do 1 to finish. Does that mean we'll do only 28? Or will we actually do 29? Answers on the postcard. Okay, 3 strokes. Last one. Here we go for a power stroke. So yeah, whereas the last time round on the 2K plan, this week 1, session 1 was about overspinning the stroke rate slightly by doing 22 strokes per minute at this pace. Today, for this alternate version, or alternate, however you want to pronounce it, is about adding in a tiny bit of power with these power strokes. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Remember, the point is to try to settle down to your 2K plus 18 pace for the other 19 strokes that you're taking every minute. If the power strokes mean you're having to slow down because you can't do them and hold 2K plus 18 pace, then I'd rather you just didn't do the power strokes. Which has been, we're almost 10 minutes in, is a good time to say that. 3, 2, 1, power stroke coming up. Now for instance, I'm dropping around about 6 or 7 seconds every time I do a power stroke. So hopefully you're speeding up in a similar range. Don't worry if you're not, but you want to see a little bit of a change between your 2K plus 18 and then your power stroke. But depending on how strong you are, what your technique's like, that's all going to affect the time difference between your power stroke and your normal stroke. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So, I threw quite a lot of technique stuff at you in the first few minutes of this row. And before moving on to other elements of your stroke, I thought I'd give you a few minutes just to concentrate and self-analyze what I'd said to you and whether you were doing it or not. So after the next power stroke, we'll do a quick recap and then move on. Okay then, so 3, 2, 1, here we go. Power stroke. So we're starting off, want to think about straight arms as we approach the front of the machine. And then we want to be leaning in to a 1 o'clock position with a powerful back, hips rotated forwards so that you lean in to the front of the machine through your hips rather than just caving in your upper or lower back. And then you push out the front with your legs. Okay, 3, 2, 1, power stroke coming up. There we go. But then I want you to hold that forward lean as you push with the legs. Okay? Don't be tempted to lurch your back too quick, like before you've even connected with your feet for that push. So try and lean in, hold that lean with straight arms as you push with your legs. Push. And keep those arms straight. 3, 2, 1. Power stroke coming up. There we go. And then you let your legs drive about halfway, at which point the power from your legs will start to fall off. So that is the point when you swing over your hips so that your back goes from that forward lean into the backwards 11 o'clock lean, or lay back, whatever you want to call it. That swing adds power. 3, 2, 1. Here we go with the power stroke. Go. And then very soon after your back starts to swing back, that is when you finally bend your elbows and pull your arms in. Send your elbows through your sides, maybe a slight flare outwards but not too wide, enough to maybe just keep your wrists flat as your elbows go through. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, power stroke coming up. Oh, I totally didn't call out that we'd hit the Bon Jovi point in the row. Once you're halfway there, that's the Bon Jovi point. Whoa, oh, we're halfway there. Whoa, oh, we're living on a prayer. Be like the William Shatner spoken poetry songs. Just sit here and recite Bon Jovi lyrics to you. Van Halen, maybe. But Bon Jovi, don't have them quite committed to memory. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Power. Anyway, back on track. Rowing track, not Van Halen tracks. So, pull the handle into your chest and try and get it probably about sternum height there. If you were to be wearing a brass strap, the handle would just touch the very bottom of it. Okay, so don't dump it down into your belly button. That doesn't help. Keep it powerful, sternum height. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And then once you've got the handle into your chest, I want you to send it straight back out again at the same pace you brought it in at. This is when I make lightsaber noises. Vroom, vroom. Okay? In, out. A nice rhythm. The same pace in, the same pace out. So you're not in and then jerking it out. Not like that. Just in, out. Nice fluid motion. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, power stroke. And that controlled return will hopefully help you concentrate on sending the handle back at the same height you pulled it towards you at. So, although you'll see quite a lot of on the water rowers will drop the handle and then up. On a rowing machine, you don't really need to do that, and it can cause issues with your technique and your posture if you're not used to it from a water point of view. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, power stroke. 10 minutes left. So what can happen if you send the handle downwards is it collapses your posture and you end up slumped and kind of bent in at the front of the stroke. Or, remember I said about not leaning back too soon? Well, if you go down, what can happen is that as you bring the handle back up again, you tend to send your back flying backwards before you connect with the leg drive. And we don't want to do that. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Power. And the reason we don't want to lean back too soon without getting the leg drive in is firstly, just you lose a lot of power. Remember I said how you use your backswing to add in power when your legs start to fade. Well, if you've already done your backswing before you connect with your feet, you've lost that extra squeeze of power that you can put into the machine. But also, if you start your drive already leaning back, what it does is it sends all of that power, all of the force from your legs. Oh, I missed the power stroke. Oh. Were you watching the clock? Did you see me about to miss that one? I knew I'd miss one. I'm going to do the very last one as a power stroke, as penance. Yeah, you send the force from your stroke goes right through your lower back if you lean back too soon, which can cause injury. So if you hear people saying they get sore back when they row, chances are it's because they lean back too soon. 3, remember this time, 2, 1, power stroke. So the whole point of me talking about technique through most of the sessions is just what I covered. Basically, if you have an efficient mechanical stroke, you're less likely to get injured if you're sending the forces through your body without fighting against them or taking them in the wrong area. Hang on. There we go. In 3, 2, 1, power stroke. But then there's efficiency as well. So if you can be efficient when you put power into the machine, you can row for longer, which means you'll be able to get fitter. More time rowing means more calories burnt, but it also means if you're able to put more power into the machine, you'll get stronger and faster. And there's nothing more motivating than seeing these numbers on the screen telling you you're going faster. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So, I do tend to talk technique quite a lot, but it is with those 3 points in mind. And I also know from my own experience how easy it is to get fatigued, and then the real basic foundations of good posture, of making sure you're pushing with the legs at the front and then pulling with the arms at the back, tend to slip. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So if you get tired, fatigued, it can get tougher to hold the correct form when rowing. So if I'm every now and then just saying, keep your arms straight, watch that forward lean, keep a powerful posture at the front, brace your abs at the back, get that handle out, the same rhythm you brought it in at. All those things can help just nudge you back on track again. 3, 2, 1. Power stroke. And then the last bit, talking about getting back on track, is the recovery of the stroke. So I've talked about getting the handle away from you, but the point is to get your arms out straight and your hands past your knees before your knees bend. Again, assess what you're doing, and if you suddenly realize that your knees are popping up and then you have to send the handle up and over your knees, and don't do that. 2, 1. Power stroke. Because again, from a posture point of view, if your knees are popping up, then what that's doing is it's rounding your lower back, tucking your tailbone underneath, which could quite often end up with you having a bruised tailbone. So if you can get the handle past your knees and you get back up onto your sit bones, rock forwards, you'll then effortlessly slide to the front of the machine without having to yank on the foot straps. Three, 2, 1. Power stroke. Last minute. And then the last thing to say is what I said right before the warm-up, that you want to be able to slide forwards enough that your shins go vertical, so they're pointing straight up. That's how far to slide. Don't go past vertical if you can help it, and certainly try to at least get to vertical. If you stop too shallow, then you're losing power again. All right, we're almost there. I'm going to finish the last stroke as a power stroke. 3, 2, power stroke coming up. there we go. Very simple session. I mean, my heart rate was, what's that, about 70%, which is fine. It's kind of exactly where you want it to be for a row like that, where, like I say, it's a low rate, slow session that builds your core fitness, your ability for oxygen, blood to get transported around your body, fuel your muscles. And this will give you the core fitness you need when we then get into the mid and top tier, where you start to ask a lot more of your body. Right, quickly go into a 2-minute cool down. You gonna work? Yeah. There we go. Okay, so gonna go 18 strokes a minute again for the cool down, basically the warm up in reverse without the drills. In 3, 2, 1, go. Now, cool down is really important. Maybe for a session like this, you might think, well, I'm not that exhausted. Do I need a cool down? The truth is, you need to get in the habit of doing a cool down. So say you were just at the gym on your own and you did a really hard session and you didn't have me bleating away in your ear about a cool down. You need to be in the habit of just knowing, hang on, I've just done a really hard session. I should really do a 2-minute cool down to let my heart gradually slow down and just flush out my muscles and stuff. So if you can get into the habit of doing these cool downs by rowing them even on sessions like this, then you'll just know that it's something that you do. You factor it into your session. Anyway, I feel today's row was a very useful, beneficial one. I do feel I was kind of jumping all over the place, in and out of talking technique and then trying to kind of give you a breather where it wasn't just me battering you with technique stuff. But that said, I still left out a lot of things I could have talked about, so we'll hopefully go over them through the next sessions. But like I said in the intro, if you haven't done a 2K test yet, then maybe instead of doing session 2, do a 2K test instead, so that you have a proper training pace to base this plan off. Okay, 3 more strokes for me. You can continue to cool down, of course, while I just talk to you for a few seconds as my sign-off stuff. Right. So I usually, when I remember, finish off all the sessions by giving you a hashtag, right? And the point of this being, it's something that you can put in the comments, just basically to prove you got to the end, because I'm desperately suspicious that everyone, no, I'm not, just as a little bit of fun, to be honest, but it also does show that you got this far. You didn't just bail after 15 minutes and go, oh, that was a great session. So I'm going to call this one, the hashtag will be 2K Plan Redux, so REDUX. 2K Plan Redux, because we're kind of starting all over again. I don't know if I'll do every session, and I'm going to do these in and out of doing some longer rows as part of a half marathon training plan and things. So it's not going to be, whereas last time round I managed to do the entire 4-week plan in, I think it took me about 6 weeks by the time I took in like rest days and things. But I think this one, I think we'll probably spread this over like the next kind of 2-3 months or something. Because it's already there, and these are just like extra little ones you can come back to. So basically it means, A, it's fixing where things have gone wrong, like camera issues or sound issues or hair issues, which you'll come to if you've not done the plan before. Also means if you've gone through the entire plan once and you want to come back and do it again, it gives you another option where I'm talking about other things, so you don't have to listen to exactly the same thing over and over again. Even though I do talk technique a lot, I do try and mix things up, how I talk about it, so it's at least slightly fresh each time. And also, like I say, some of the sessions just lend themselves to being tweaked. Like this one was a slightly faster stroke rate for 30 minutes at 2K plus 18, whereas this time we went slightly more power with these little single power strokes. So it's kind of like offsetting. I'll do that again. I'll kind of, where sometimes we'll have there may be like a 5-minute rest. I'll kind of chop that down to a 3-minute rest, but then I'll reduce the pace that you're doing your main thing at. So I'll just try and mix things up a little bit for you to make it interesting, because why not? Why not actually use this and try and keep you here? Haha. Yes, just like I'm doing right now by talking for so long. So anyway, so hashtag is 2K Plan Redux. And now for the usual end bit. Oh, I can't even speak. So do click subscribe and the little bell icon. I mean, the numbers aren't what I care about. What I care about is that you get an email or a notification or something saying I put up a new video. Because I'd hate to think that you're like, what's that RowAlong guy up to? He's not posted anything, and it's because you've not clicked the bell thing. And it's the same with the podcasts. If you click subscribe on that, then you should get an email or some kind of a notification saying that RowAlong idiot's put up another workout for you to row along to. So, and then come and check out the Facebook group. It's just, if you hunt for just RowAlong, you'll find it's like, I've called it the RowAlong Workouts Club, because it just feels like a club. There's lots of like-minded people there, and it feels more clubby than it does groupy. So anyway, right, and that's the end of my bits. So thank you so much for coming back and starting this redux of the plan. I hope you put up with me again for another cycle through this 2K plan, and I hope you rode it strong. I hope you listen to what I'm saying about technique and stuff and take it in, and you're not sitting here going, oh, he's talking rubbish, because I don't think I am. Although if you do think I'm talking rubbish, let me know. Right. Stay safe, be well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.